$2 million raised so far for Marine Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller to help, who was thrown in the military jail for posting a video on social media slamming the Biden administration's botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Take a listen.
If an 05 battalion commander has the simplest live fire incident EO complaint, boom, fired. But we have a Secretary of Defense that testified to Congress in May that the Afghan National Security Force could withstand the Taliban advance. We have chairmen of Joint Chief, who the Commandant is a member of that, who's supposed to advise on military policy. We have a Marine combatant commander. All of these people are supposed to advise. And I'm not saying we've got to be in Afghanistan forever, but I am saying, did any of you throw your rank on the table and say, hey, it's a bad idea to evacuate Bagram Airfield, the strategic air base, before we evacuate everyone?
You know, the money raised by the Pipe Hitter Foundation will go towards possible loss of military benefits and the retiring and the mounting legal costs on top of other expenses. Ever since Scheller was thrown in the brig, his parents have gone public to talk about their son.
Our son, we're very proud of our son. Our son is a hero. He fought for this country for 17 years. They left hundreds of Americans in Afghanistan. Well, they're leaving our son tonight in prison. And that's not okay with us. And I challenge the American people, is that okay with you?
We want Stuart Scheller released. We would like him to have his pension reinstated, his hard-earned pension. We would like him to have his medical benefits that he is going to need after the deployments that he has endured. But if they won't do that, at least release him and let him out of the Marines.
You know, it's heartbreaking to hear that. And a letter from GOP lawmakers to the Marine commander on Scheller. This confinement appears to be simply for messaging, retribution, and convenience. Given his excellent record and more than 15 years of dedicated service, we do not believe and have not seen any evidence that the Lieutenant Colonel Scheller poses a grave risk of criminal misconduct. You know, it just, you try to put your head around this, and it just doesn't make sense. You're attacking, I get it, insubordination, but wouldn't that be just a talking to? Why do you think, and I'm going to go to you first to this, Sean, why do you think it's so important to quiet anyone who questions this administration?
Because you can't have dissent, Tyrus, right? And I'm going to read you a quote from the Marines. The Marines said, this is a Marine official who said they consider Scheller a flight risk and believe China may intend to use his comments as propaganda. Remember back, Tyrus, earlier this year in Alaska when Blinken met with the Chinese and the Chinese were using Biden and Democrat comments as propaganda to call Americans racist? They know all too well about propaganda. In this story, what really frustrates me is Scheller was someone who stood up and said, if I lead, if I put my rank on the table, I'm going to inspire other people to step in and put their rank on the table and call out this botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. No other officer stood up. And that's the problem in America. We all look at brave people who will stand up and risk everything to push back on these woke politics. But if we don't stand with them, if we don't join the fight, don't join the cause, we are going to lose to the woke leftists. More people have to get in the fight. And it's shameful that more military men and women didn't join his call to go, listen, I get rank, but we can't have this in our military, and someone should lose their job. Someone else should be in jail, not me.
All right, well, let me take you some new sound from Scheller. We can roll that.
I was the only officer in the entire American coalition fired in the debacle of the Afghanistan fallout. I acknowledge that I should have been fired. However, the hypocrisy of the general officers who are not being held to the same standard is a microcosm for the entire problem that is going to bring down the great institutions of this republic that we love.
Jackie, I get you can see one side of it. He shouldn't speak out of rank. But in terms of messaging or what, do you really have a problem with what he's saying?
Oh, absolutely not. What I have a problem with is the fact that he's the only one getting fired. Look at the administration and this botched withdrawal. Why doesn't Antony Blinken have any responsibility here? He should lose his job. What about Kamala Harris? She was the last person in the room when the decisions were made. And what about the president being accountable for what happened, leaving Americans on the ground, abandoning Afghan partners who helped us while we were there? You know, this is really a problem. Back to what Sean is saying, this is the administration to a certain degree turning us into the CCP, turning us into Russia, controlling the messaging and basically showing people you will be punished if you speak out. What I'm really proud to see here is the Pipe Hitter Foundation, Eddie Gallagher. He went through a whole trial and saga himself. He knows how much money it costs. He knows that it can destroy your life. So 27,000 donors, other vets from this country, other countries as well, have stepped up to say, we're going to help here. We're going to make sure that you have enough money for your benefits, for your legal defense, for the pension that you're walking away from. This is really sad, and we have to fight for our freedom of speech in this country, and he's doing that.
You know, and I saved you for last, Lisa, because I know it's coming. It's coming. Can you believe they said with a straight face they were concerned that he would flee to China and they would use his statements as propaganda, as if they don't have CNN in China? I give it to you.
Yeah, he did the one thing you can't do, which is speak up against the regime. I mean, go through the things you're allowed to do. You're allowed to get 13 service members killed due to your incompetency. That's okay. You're allowed to drone an entire family, including 7 children, lie about it. That's okay. You're Mark Milley. You're allowed to attempt a coup. That's okay. But you can't speak out against the regime. And Jackie's right. We have communism is taking hold in America. We've seen it throughout the past couple of years with COVID. It's not just with this either. It's destroying small businesses and companies that are more decentralized while empowering the centralized, which are these big corporations. It's paying people to stay home and to get them beholden to the government. It's the vaccine mandates of driving independent thinkers, critical thinkers out of the military and out of the workforce. And what all of it does is to beat people into submission and to destroy those who dare not submit. And that is Lieutenant Colonel Scheller. So that's why it is so important for us to fight back. And thankfully, people are donating and standing up. And we have members of Congress standing up as well, because this is a fight not just for him, but for all of us.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.